All right, let's just dive right in, because today we are going to tackle a question that's so fundamental it almost feels, well, silly to even ask, but it turns out to be one of the deepest puzzles in all of human thought. We're about to connect the dots from ancient philosophy all the way to modern computer code, all to understand the very architecture of reality itself.
So let's start right there. What does it actually mean for something to exist? I mean, you exist, the device you're watching this on exists, the planet exists. It seems so obvious, right? But what is existence? Is it a feature? Is it a property of a thing? And, this is where all the trouble begins.
This simple comparison right here, it lays a really subtle logical trap. We can say a star is hot, and yeah, hot is clearly a property of the star. We can say a star is massive, that's another property, but when we say a star exists, something just feels different. Is exists just another adjective you can tack on a list? For centuries, philosophers and logicians have argued, no way, because you can't really describe a property of something that, that doesn't exist in the first place.
To find our first clue in solving this puzzle, we have to travel back, way back, more than 2,000 years, to ancient India. There was a school of philosophy called Vaisheshika, and they came up with this truly radical answer that is, and this is the crazy part, shockingly relevant today.
They proposed this concept called Sattā, and here is the big radical idea. Sattā isn't a property of a substance, like its color or its weight. No, instead, Sattā is its own thing, a completely separate, universal category. Think of it like a giant container that holds everything that's real. So things don't have existence, they participate in, and they say it right there in their foundational text, the Vaisheshika Sutra. This quote, this is the core of the whole idea. Existence isn't just another quality you can list or an action something does. It is on a completely different level. It's the background, the stage, that allows substances and qualities and actions to even be a thing at all.
So what you get is this really clear hierarchy. At the very foundation, the base layer, you have Sattā, this universal concept of being itself. And then, everything else we consider real, a substance like a rock, a quality like heavy, an action like falling, all of that stuff exists inside of this higher level category. They're all grounded in it.
Okay, let's jump forward. We're going to a completely different time and place and see how this idea keeps showing up. Fast forward to the late 19th and early 20th centuries. You've got these logicians like Gottlob Frege and Bertrand Russell, and guess what? They are wrestling with the exact same problem. What does the word exists actually mean in a formal logical system? And you won't believe it, they arrived at a remarkably similar conclusion. Frege argued that existence is not a first-order property of an object, like saying the cat is black. He said no, it's a second-order property, a property of a concept. So when we say cats exist, what we're really saying, logically, is the concept of cat is not empty. There's at least one thing in that category. Existence isn't a property of the individual cat, but a property of the idea of catness. It's a higher-level category, just like Sartre.
The philosopher W.V.O. Quine, he came along later and just summed this all up perfectly with this famous, punchy line. In formal logic, something exists if it's one of the things your system can even talk about, if it can be a value that you can plug into a variable. Basically, it exists because it's accounted for within the rules of the system. It belongs to the set of real things.
Okay, so we've seen this pattern pop up in ancient philosophy and in modern logic. But what about the real physical world? Does physics have a version of this foundational layer of existence? You bet it does.
See, in modern physics, we don't just talk about particles and forces all on their own. They all exist on top of some kind of fundamental background or substratum. Things like space-time itself or the quantum fields that permeate the entire universe. Even the vacuum state, which isn't empty at all. It's buzzing with energy. All of these things act as a kind of physical Sattā. They are the arena where every physical event has to happen. And once again, look at this, it's a clear hierarchy. You've got the fundamental arena of space-time at the bottom.
Layered on top of that, you have the fields that determine properties like mass and charge, and then, from the interactions of those fields, emerge the particles in the events that we actually observe. Just like with Sattā, there is a foundational layer that everything else depends on.
So this pattern holds for philosophy, for logic, and for physics. Our final stop is the most modern of all, the world of computer science and AI, specifically in how we try to teach computers about the world.
So when computer scientists build these massive databases of knowledge, these so-called knowledge graphs, they use a language called OWL. And in OWL, there is a fundamental top-level class called OWL thing. Now, what that means is that for a computer system to know about, well, anything, a person, a city, a company, an idea, that thing must first be defined as belonging to this universal class. In other words, OWL.thing is the computational version of Sattā. It is the system's digital container for every single thing it considers to be real. By being classified as an OWL.thing, an item is granted existence inside that system's reality. It is the exact same architectural pattern we have been tracing this whole time.
Okay, so let's bring all this home. What we have uncovered here is an incredible intellectual convergence. It's a fundamental idea about the very nature of reality that has been independently discovered and rediscovered across thousands of years and completely different fields.
Whether you call it Sattā or a second-order concept, a substratum field or OWL thing, the core idea is exactly the same. To make sense of reality, you need a foundational, universal category of being that is separate from all the individual things that exist within it. From ancient sages to modern programmers, humanity keeps stumbling upon the very same blueprint for what it means to be.
Seeing a powerful pattern like this suggests that reality itself might be built on these kinds of hidden, abstract structures. So the question that this leaves us with is, well, it's this. If a concept as basic as existence needs this invisible foundational layer just to make sense, what other deep structures of reality might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to notice the pattern?